Hey, good morning everybody, and welcome to the vlog. I hope the start of your day is absolutely incredible. You know, I love to stay positive, but today I'm about to go negative. And what I mean by that is why you shouldn't keep reptiles. And not necessarily you, but what I do mean is that there's a certain amount of people out there that maybe shouldn't keep reptiles. And what I mean by that is that, you know, there's kind of some things that if you're not willing to do, maybe reptiles aren't for you. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about research first. Don't ever spontaneously buy a reptile. If you go to a reptile show or a pet shop and you just decide, oh my god, that is so cute, let's go ahead and buy it, before you even know any care of that animal, whether that's what they eat, whether the cage that they need to keep, the environment, whatever it is, then probably a good chance that you shouldn't be keeping reptiles, because research is so important. There are times where I spend months and even years researching an animal prior to getting it. Take for instance the albino iguanas. We know that their eyesight isn't that great. So that means that you have to be willing to set up an enclosure where they can find their food very well. You also have to take into account their training and actually holding. You can see what I'm doing with Heinz here, the crimson albino male, is that I'm letting him just kind of walk through. I'm also kind of talking to him when I'm actually first going in the cage so that he knows it's me. It's a recognizable voice. So this is a little bit different than keeping a normal albino because of eyesight issues. So I had to research what the best way to keep an animal like this is before I decided to actually get it, because it wouldn't be fair to that animal to get it and then go, well, oh gosh, it's just not doing well because I didn't put enough research into it. And that doesn't just go for reptiles. I'm in the sloth room, or what's going to look like the sloth room here in the next couple days is going to look a lot different. Literally, I spent a couple years researching how to take care of sloths before I even thought of the idea of bringing a sloth into the environment. And then it took me 7 months to convince Lori that I had done enough research to make it viable to keep. We didn't want to ever bring an animal, any animal, reptile, or in this case a sloth, into the collection, not be able to care for it and have the animal suffer. So I literally think if you're not willing to research and really put energy into it prior to getting an animal, maybe keeping any animals, and in particular reptiles, aren't for you. Hey sweetie, what you doing, girl? You're looking absolutely incredible, that's for sure. Look at this blood python here. Of course, a Malaysian red blood python, absolutely incredible. But the fact is that not every reptile is going to fit everyone's needs, right? Sometimes, you know, people will say, wow, a blood python is something that I really want, but then when you actually do some research on it, you realize maybe that's not the animal for me, right? The other thing that happens is, let's say a lot of times people have, say, $500 to spend on an animal, right? And they'll spend $450 on the animal, and then they only have $50 to figure out what to put it in. Take, for instance, the green basilisk, the plumifrons. These are a relatively inexpensive animal. To be honest with you, you can sometimes buy these for like $30, which is crazy to me, because when we were young, these things were hundreds and hundreds of dollars, like $1,000 a piece, but now they're relatively available down in South Florida. Unfortunately, they're invasive, so they're all over the place, and now they're really cheap. But the fact is that, you know, I've got 3 of them in here that might have cost $100 for all 3 of them, but this enclosure itself is like a $500 enclosure. Now, they don't necessarily need a $500 enclosure as babies, but I tell you what, when these guys get bigger, they're going to go into a giant 6 or 8 foot enclosure that's literally going to be $3, $4, maybe even $5,000. So oftentimes, believe it or not, the reptile is the cheaper part. You have to spend more money on the enclosure than you do the reptile, and a lot of times people don't realize that. And if you don't have the ability to realize that you need to spend more money on an enclosure than the actual animal, again, maybe reptiles aren't for you. Salt and pepper is looking great, and as a matter of fact, the other day I did a video about how much work it was to keep alligators, anacondas. I mean, reticulated pythons are absolutely amazing, but they certainly can poop a lot. And as I'm walking through, I see animal after animal, whether it's black-headed pythons, blood pythons, boa constrictors, certainly iguanas with their sneezing all over the glass and everything, is that you have to be really passionate about the work, right? You have to be passionate about not just keeping and playing with the animal, but also taking care of the environment. Turtles can be extremely work intensive. I mean, they poop a lot. You got to clean their water a lot. You got to keep them healthy. You got to make sure you have the right things. So if you're not passionate about that part of it, the fact that you have to do all of this daily grind, it's something that maybe you should listen. You know, if you have a kid, you're going to change a lot of diapers as babies, right? You're going to be teaching them how to read. You're going to be teaching them how to walk, ride a bike, all that stuff. You got to be willing to do that with the animals too. Have the same type of passion for keeping the animals and doing all the work. I mean, look at Nova right here, just chilling out. Again, these guys need roaches every day. They need their cage cleaned every day. They need all kinds of different stuff. So there's going to definitely be a lot of work involved in it. And that's okay, because if you're not into that type of stuff, then it's not necessarily something that you want to keep. Basically, you know, my life is all about trying to get people to love reptiles. Look at Mango. It looks absolutely incredible. But again, it's an aquatic enclosure, so there's a lot of work. We've got alligators that, again, just take so much work. But the fact is that whether you're raising a kid, you got a dog, or you got a reptile, you got to be into it. And you know that my life is all about wanting you guys to keep reptiles. As a matter of fact, if I ever ran for president, my slogan would be, there'd be a reptile in every household in America. So I'm not trying to discourage you to keep reptiles, because I absolutely love them. But the fact is you've got to fall in love with the whole process, the work, the energy you put into it, the enclosures, the amount of time. Because if you're not, then maybe you're not doing the animal a justice, right? And you don't want to ever get animals and not have the time, energy, and money, all the things to do it, because it's not fair to that particular animal. I mean, look at my girl Bella here. Hey, Belly Bells. I mean, do you have any idea the amount of hours I spend with Bella to not only keep her happy and healthy with cleaning her cage and feeding her everyday veggies and stuff like that, but to also get her socialized to the point where she's just going to come up for pets and hang out with me. Again, that's hours and hours and hours of work that you have to be willing to put in. If you're just going to get a reptile and throw it into a cage, that's not fair to the animal. And if that's what you want, then maybe I'd prefer you not getting reptiles. And adding on to that, there is definitely going to be some sacrifice. Just like my girl Lucy here, that so many times I've been like, okay, I finally get to go home for the day. I walk in here and she's got poop soup all over the place, and that's not easy to clean. I mean, it's going to take time, but obviously not everyone's going to have a 20-foot snake like my girl Lucy here. But the fact is that you're going to have sacrifice. There's going to be times where, like, all right, I'm going out to dinner with my friends, or I'm going out, and you walk by that cage and the cage is destroyed. It's not really fair to that animal to leave that cage like that. So you got to be willing to sacrifice sometimes. Go, all right, I've got to clean that cage before I go out with my friends, or whatever the fact is, and you've got to be willing to sacrifice that. Again, it's the same thing. If you have a dog, you're going to need someone to walk your dog if you go on vacation, or take them out and feed them. It's the same thing with reptiles, and oftentimes people don't think of reptiles as the same way as they would think of a dog or whatever animal you're keeping, right? But the fact is that they need a lot of care, which means that you're going to have to sacrifice. And you've got to go into keeping reptiles with the mentality that you're willing to work and sacrifice to make sure they're healthy, happy, and that's really where you get the most experience from having these wonderful animals. And you know what makes people really great reptile keepers is to stay excited. I mean, excited about everything that you do with it. And speaking about excited, we actually had some pretty cool baby snakes hatch out. Why don't we go take a look at those before we get back to this topic? Really excited that this clutch hatched out. These are all just a bunch of albino ball pythons that are het for pied. So it was an albino female bred to an albino pied male. Of course, the albino's recessive, the pied's recessive, and the fact that the albino's recessive means that all of these are going to be albino, which is awesome. And this is by far the largest clutch of albino to albino that I ever hatched out. And you guys may remember in the past, like with Helen, that sometimes when you breed albino to albino, you can have some issues. Thankfully, with albino pied to an unrelated albino female, I didn't think I was going to have any problems, and every single baby is perfect. All of them have all their eyes, there's no kinking, they're absolutely amazing. And again, because the pied is recessive, means that they're all carrying pied as a heterozygous trait in these, basically just meaning that they look like albinos, but if you breed them to a pied or you breed them to an albino pied, you'll get more albino pieds, which is just absolutely incredible. So regardless, super happy just to have a bunch of albino het for pieds hatched. Got some beautiful baby ball pythons that hatched out of this clutch. This was a big clutch of different things, and this was actually a black pewter cypress that was actually bred to a het pied. So these are all just possible het pieds, but there's a whole bunch of really cool stuff in here. There's like a black pastel cypress ball python right here. We have another black pastel cypress ball python right here. Have a bunch of just pastels that don't look like they're really anything other than that. We have a couple black pewters right here that don't look like they're carrying the cypress gene either. I think in the egg, well, this one actually looks like it is cypress right here. You can see the striping on it and stuff like that. That looks like a black pewter cypress right here, whereas this one doesn't have that striping on it. It looks like probably just a black pewter. Again, more pastels right here. Just a really beautiful clutch of a variety of things. And those black pewters are just absolutely, those silver snakes are just something else. There's no doubt about that. And then we have another little black pastel cypress right here. So it's kind of cool. Oh, and it does look like we've got a little pastel cypress here too. I wasn't sure that any of the pastels were cypress, but sure enough, this is a little pastel cypress here. The cypress gene just cleans things up a little bit, makes some striping on it. Really an awesome animal, mixes with Mojave really super well. So nevertheless, a bunch of really cool ball pythons to get set up, get started eating, and eventually they'll make it to the website. Ooh, doggy, I tell you what, this clutch hatched out and it is a banger for sure. I'm going to try to decipher what these things are right here. This one is probably the easiest one. This is just a pastel, it's a pinstripe, it's an Enchi, and it is an extreme gene. So it's a Lemon Blast Extreme Gene Enchi, really absolutely beautiful. Then we have this monkey right here. Oh my goodness. This is a super pastel spinner Extreme Gene Enchi. Whew. I tell you, look at the reduction on that little monkey right there. That thing is gorgeous. Now this one is actually pretty cool. This is a bamboo. So that basically this is the same exact animal that I just showed you, but with a bamboo added to it. So super pastel, it's got spider, it's got pinstripe, it's got Enchi, and it's got bamboo in it. Now this is the interesting thing. Look at these two snakes right here. Whoo! Man, I tell you what, I don't even know what these are. I mean, the genes in this have to be crazy. But the one thing I will say is that these guys look awfully a lot like the mystery ball pythons that I hatched out. So I start wondering, this one has pastel, it has pinstripe, it has spider, it has bamboo, it has Enchi, and it has extreme gene in it. So the fact is that this is the all gene animal that we were looking for here. So what are these animals here? I have no idea. Because again, if the all gene animal looks like this, why do these look like this? I'm wondering if this clutch has whatever that mystery gene in it, making these really crazy animals that have lacking all this pattern and just kind of blotching purple in them. I'm not sure, but again, more animals that I have to just raise up and try to figure out what the genetics are down the road. Another major thing that you have to be willing to do if you're actually in a position where you should be able to keep reptiles is you have to continue to learn. You can't be stuck in your way. You can't decide that you know more than anyone else, right? I've been doing breeding at BHB for 32 years and had some amazing snakes, and I've certainly learned a lot. You know, there's no doubt that I feel like I'm relatively knowledgeable about snakes. I mean, look at this Granite, which is actually a diffused black corn snake, absolutely beautiful. And over those years, the experience has been pretty incredible. But you know what? You have to always be willing to adapt. As soon as you think you know everything, then you probably aren't going to be a really good reptile keeper. And what I mean by that is that in the last 2 years at the Reptarium, I have reconsidered all of the ways that I've thought about keeping reptiles, right? I wasn't stuck in my ways thinking that I knew everything and that, oh, don't worry, I don't need to know more. The fact is that I had so much to learn, and I've always tried to learn, but in the last 2 years, with reptiles like Karma here and just everything I've done, it's completely changed my entire philosophy about keeping reptiles. And you know, so the fact is that if you're not willing to change, adapt, learn, you shouldn't be keeping reptiles. And the truth is that even though my knowledge and perception of reptiles has changed in the last 2 years. I mean, look at Lucy's enclosure. I mean, I used to keep retics in relatively small and short cages. Not that I'm saying it's wrong to do that. I'm just saying that now my retics have all kinds of climbing area and stuff like that. I've learned so much, and I know that over the next 2 years, I'll learn even more. I'm sure 2 years from now, I'll look back and say, gosh, I remember when I did that video, and look how much I learned since then. So don't think that you're an expert, because you're never an expert. Even 32 years of doing this, I'm not an expert. I always tell people, don't call me an expert, because I'm learning as much as anyone else. So keep that in mind. If you think that all of a sudden after 6 months of keeping reptiles that you know everything and you want to challenge everyone with what they're doing, then maybe reptiles aren't right for you, and maybe you shouldn't be keeping reptiles, because you should always be trying to learn and always trying to better your husbandry, your techniques, everything about keeping reptiles. You should always be challenging yourself to do better. And don't get me wrong, guys, I wish everybody would keep reptiles. I want to encourage everyone to keep reptiles. I just wanted to tell you some things that if you want to keep reptiles, maybe you shouldn't do to save you a little bit of grief, if that makes sense. But nevertheless, I didn't want to go negative. I really want to keep this on the positive note, saying that reptiles are amazing. They've changed my life. They are my life, and they will forever be my life. And I know they can change your life too. And I hope that you enjoyed this kind of rant that I had going on about what you shouldn't do if you want to Key Reptiles. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit this playlist right over here. It helps my click-through rate, so I do appreciate you guys. Up here, you can subscribe to my podcast. You'll hear me ramble about a lot of things on over there. On this side, I hope that you're subscribed to this vlog channel. Please turn your post notifications on. Have an absolutely wonderful day. Remember, be kind to someone, and I promise I'll see you tomorrow.